Last week in our Question Zero, we talked about what we felt was going to be nominated for Game of the Year at the Game Awards. Well, our timing was good because it turned out that this past Monday, yesterday as the time of recording, they announced the nominees for this year's Game Awards that's going to be in December. We won't go through all of them, but we will definitely hit the main one right now, which is Game of the Year. The 2022 nominees for Game of the Year are A Plague Tale Requiem, Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, Stray, and Xenoblade Chronicles 3. There were some people who were kind of disappointed with the list, but otherwise most think it's fairly solid. Zero, what do you think about the list of games that are revealed to be nominated for Game of the Year at the Game Awards this year?
See, I'm surprised I got 4 out of 6.
Yeah, okay. That is true. I mean, I didn't expect Stray to get nominated, to be absolutely honest. I saw you saying Stray, and I was like, really? Stray? Okay. And I kind of was surprised by Xenoblade to a certain extent, but then again, I don't know. Like, I was fairly certain Vampire Survivors was going to get in, just because of how much it's been talked about with not only in early access, but with Steam Deck that came out, and how a lot of people are playing that on the Steam Deck and enjoying it. So, and a lot of the journalists who cover the industry and also are jury members who do the nominees, I could have sworn like some of them would have been like all for this and have been playing that game all year. So that's why I thought Vampire Survivors was going to get in. I was surprised when it didn't, but oh well, that's what happens.
Yeah, and Xenoblade Chronicles 3 was kind of a fun, pleasant surprise because just when it released, I was like, okay, it's a JRPG-ass JRPG, so I expect no one to give a fuck about it because a lot of the anti-weeb people out there are probably like, ew, gross, JRPG with anime artwork, gross, fucking disgusting. So that was what I figured would be the case, but I guess anime talks, and Xenoblade is in the running.
Yeah, I think Xenoblade got it because it was either that or Kirby would have probably gotten it, and with that, I know there were some fans of Kirby and the Forgotten City. That's what it's called, right? Kirby and the Forgotten City?
Yeah.
Yeah. There were some fans, but I didn't hear an outpouring of love for it when it came out. It was one of those games that just died out as soon as it was released. And it did well, but talk about it ceased after that point. Xenoblade, I believe, had a lot of, at least JRPG reviewers were very happy with it and very happy with the improvements that it made. So I guess that's where I guess it just seemed like a Nintendo game had to get in. That's the only thing I can think of with this. Like, a Nintendo game had to get in here, and that was their choice. And I guess Splatoon 3 is too much like Splatoon 1 and 2, so they didn't go that route, which, okay, fine. But yeah, that's it with Xenoblade. I said that Forbidden West was going to get in, and I'm still a little surprised that it did. Like, that was one where I knew in the back of my head it's probably going to get in, but I would have probably rather it not, just because of, again, what I look at it as the people who cover the business, who are quote unquote influencers of the gaming industry. There was zero talk about Horizon Forbidden West after it was released. Like, zero. After it was released, it got a little bit of talk. People complained that it was too hand-holdy. And then Elden Ring came out, and no one talked about it anymore. It was done. It was gone. So, yeah. And A Plague Tale, I mean, I know the first game got a lot of great reviews, but the second one, I'm hearing mixed things. Like, it's gotten favorable reviews, sure, but a lot of people had technical problems with that game. if I recall correctly.
Yeah, you had characters who were hitching on some of the level geometry,
Mhm.
just some really, really weird one-off bugs that ended up with some people having to kind of reset to a checkpoint and hope to God that the characters wouldn't repeat the same error that they got maybe stuck on a piece of level geometry or something like that. Just really, really weird bugs. I believe some of them have been fixed since, but yeah, just that was a game that kind of surprised me. I was just like, yeah, I'm kind of surprised it got the nomination, considering that the initial reception when it originally released was a bit mixed because some people had encountered major game-breaking bugs in playing the game for a review, and then you had some people who had no bugs at all and just were like, "Oh yeah, just um, a great game that builds on the original Plague Tale." So I like the game. And then of course the people who had bugs were just like, "Hey, the game's okay, but some of these bugs need to be addressed, and we'll rate it as like a 6 or a 7." So just not an awesome game, but just if they can fix the bugs, then I think the game can get.
Of the 6, what I didn't realize after they did the announcement is that apparently the public can vote for what best game is this year. You can vote for all of the categories this year, which I don't know if I know Player's Voice was the one where I thought everyone voted on the common player voted for. I didn't realize they allowed you to vote for everything this year now. So,
Yeah.
with that being said, what do you think will win this year?
Oh, that one's a dead giveaway. It's gonna be Elden Ring
Is
because
it? Are you sure about that now? Because
I think so. Mostly because you're gonna have the tryhards rallying up places like 4chan and shit like that, and go, "Oh, yo, you gotta vote for Elden Ring, or else you're not a true gamer." And it's just gonna be a fucking shit show.
yeah, I mean, Sekiro won 2019. Um, yeah, so I can see your point there that the diehards will probably want this to win. Do we? Here's the question I have. Like, I don't know what the voting process is like. I mean, are they just using everyone's vote as equal and whoever has the most votes win, or are they going to weight the votes towards the press and then they'll count like the common vote as like a tiebreaker or something?
Yeah, that's. I was gonna say, I think the latter is my thought methodology on this because, um, I know that, just for the past couple years, there have been some people who have like bitched and groaned that oh god, just these panelists and judges and jury members are fucking, they're all fucking bought off, and
Mhm.
especially if it was a game that the gamers TM didn't care for, it would just be like um oh, everyone's bought off, this was bullshit, game such and such should have won.
Mhm.
So I think the reason they're opening the polls up is to make it seem like the public has a voice on the matter. But I think ultimately it's just going to come down to being used as a tiebreaker mechanism. That
Mhm.
it's just going to be a oh man, just we've got the judges deadlocked between, um, and this is me hypothetically speaking, so don't quote me on this, for the listeners out there. Let's say we have a deadlock between Elden Ring and God of War Ragnarok, then likely they're going to go, okay, well, let's see how the public feels on this. Oh, votes are going towards Elden Ring. Okay, I guess Elden Ring takes it.
Okay.
So
See, here's the thought process I'm having right now. If it's that way, where they weight the decision for best game towards what the critics and the journalists say, then it being a 1-to-1, one vote matters no matter who it is. I can see God of War winning, and mainly because journalists and the people who cover the game industry are so dead set on From Software games supposed to have difficult, like a difficulty sliders or difficulty choices or easy mode, or there needs to be more accessibility and all these things. Like they're asking for all these things that basically FromSoft has essentially said no to, without saying no. They just keep making the same game. But I could see them penalizing Elden Ring for that and giving it to God of War because it's more accessible, because it's easier, because it holds your hand more, because and I can see if that's how it is. If it's they weight the decision towards the journalist, I can see an upset where God of War Ragnarok wins. Now, if it's a 1-to-1 thing, Elden Ring wins, no doubt, because Elden Ring has a much more passionate fan base than I think God of War does. God of War has a passionate fan base, don't get me wrong, but the FromSoft people are crazy. Like these people, you don't want to fuck with. Like they'll turn out. They'll make sure that Elden Ring wins to this. And as much as there are God of War stands, there are people on Twitter who are complaining about God of War, and specifically, from what I keep hearing, is how much the game holds your hand, essentially. So I can see, like I said, if the voting process is one vote is one vote, no matter who it is, Elden Ring wins, no problem. If it's not, for some reason, I can see God of War Ragnarok squeaking a win. That's my thought process. What do you think of that thought process?
I can see that being as plausible. So I mean, just I'm not gonna dismiss it outright or anything. But
Do you think it's likely?
it's a likely impossible scenario in my opinion. Yeah, it'll be kind of hard to say because you've got a whole bunch of major outlets and everything who are on the jury panel and everything. But then you have some contrarian voices too, like Jeff Gersman is on the jury panel as well too.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I should revise my thought. Maybe that if they go with the latter, where just the public's votes are a tiebreaker, but the majority of the weighting scale goes to the jury panel. Let's say maybe it could be a possible coin toss between Elden Ring and God of War.
Okay. I can see your thought process in that. But I think the main thing we're getting at is it's between Elden Ring and God of War. And the other four are just happy to be nominated at this point. Let's get into some of the other categories real quick. I know there's a couple you want to cover. Go ahead.
There is one I want to clown on real fast, mostly because it's just kind of a funny thing. With Light from the whole Helena Taylor situation with Bayonetta 3, I wish, just as kind of a snub and a troll towards Helena Taylor, that they had Jennifer Hale as one of the nominees for Best Performance.
Yeah.
That would have been just chef's kiss level trolling.
I'm betting the people who were compiling this list wanted to actively avoid that controversy. Like, really just avoid it altogether. And since Jennifer Hale didn't blow people away, like she did good, I hear, but she didn't blow people away with her performance. I think that's okay to do. I mean, that's fine.
Yeah. Though I will give them points if she's the one who presents the award for Best Performance. That will be some epic trolling. I will probably be laughing my ass off.
Or it's her and Helena Taylor, and they just have a fight in the middle of the entire thing.
Oh, you mean like the Will Smith Chris Rock moment?
Yes. The real Bayonetta wants to open the envelope, bitch.
God, I would die. I would
man,
literally die.
That's when you know that the Game Awards is in trouble, when they have to resort to Oscars theatrics to gain news and headlines. But the ones that are nominated, I mean, no surprise, Christopher Judge. Not surprised the actress from Immortality got nominated. And I guess Sunny Soljic, is he the person that plays Artaeus in God of War?
I don't know. I'd have to look him up.
Okay. But yeah, like these are essentially, except for I would say Men Engage, who is in Immortality. These are just the who's who of voice actors and stuff that do these games. Usually, Ashley Birch is in like a bunch of voice acting. Like she's of course she's more known as Tiny Tina than anything, but I have to keep reminding myself that she's Aloy in Horizon Forbidden West. I keep forgetting about that. But yeah, this is like a who's who. This is not much of a surprise. Game direction. Okay, I'm a little surprised with the game direction here. I'm not surprised with Elden Ring. I'm not surprised with Immortality. But the other three, I've heard I've heard a fair amount of complaints about the certain things that these games do, or the or what they do in the game that leads them to their inevitable conclusion. I'm a little surprised that these three games are games that are in best game direction.
I've heard some people kind of talk about how God of War is just kind of that they play it safe and it's a little bit predictable. But I mean, just as much as I hate to disappoint people, predictability sells. Just as much as people like to bitch and complain that just they want new, shiny, and different things, if you deviate too far from the familiar, then some people will just gripe and bitch. So just God of War just being in best direction because it played it safe. That's kind of a no-brainer in my book.
Well,
Um,
I'm not one of those who I don't mind something that's predictable getting a best direction nomination. That's not really the problem or the fault of the director. That's more of a writer's problem that they
yeah,
actually have that issue. What I'm more or less talking about is how the game, from what I've heard, because I have not played it, from what I've heard, like the game is dull at times. There are pacing issues, and the decision to give you hints all the time for certain things is a bit of a bother. Where a much better game would give you more context clues, or basically would make it a little more ingenious for you to figure out puzzles. That's where
yeah,
I'm like, that's weird. So
yeah. And to that, Horizon Forbidden West, while I did enjoy the game, there were definitely some moments that just there were some pacing issues in my opinion, just where it'd be like, hey, you need to wait, just a day before you can talk to this other person, even though like the person's right in front of me. And it's just like, really, guys, you're gonna make me fucking burn the day off and then go run around and find this person to talk to? Okay,
okay,
whatever. I guess I'll play it your way.
okay,
Um, and then and Stray being there, as much as the game does generally a good job on like highlighting ladders and platforms that your little cat can kind of hop onto and stuff like that. There were some places where just it was legitimately confusing to try to figure out like, hey, is that platform actually reachable, or is that just platform just a decoration? Because there were some moments where just I had just gotten completely lost, going, okay, I don't get where the fuck I'm supposed to go, and I would have to kind of sleep it off for a day, and then the next day I'd come back and go, oh, okay, got it, whatever.
okay,
I should have noticed this last night, but whatever.
okay. One other thing I'm going to point out: best narrative. A Plague Tale, Requiem, Elden Ring, God of War, Ragnarok, for Horizon Forbidden West, Immortality. Do From Software games even have narratives?
Yeah, that was a nomination I also kind of disagreed with, mostly because From Software games, they're great at leaving little bits and pieces of lore scattered
Right.
around the world, and
Yes.
you as the player are supposed to kind of come to your own conclusions. But to say that that's a narrative design thing that's supposedly brilliant, it just doesn't fit. I mean, in if you want to count it towards like building a universe, sure, but it's not really great at storytelling because it still just ultimately relies on you as the player to just figure it out.
Right.
So
Like, I don't mind a complex plot. I really don't. But if I have to go to a YouTube video to pick out the lore because I didn't catch it the first time I played it, that's not really strong narrative. It might be good world building, and it might be good to flesh out the world that you are in, but it doesn't tell a story. So I thought that was very strange that it got best narrative. The other four, I'm not surprised, but that's one I had an issue with. Are there any others that you want to talk about real quick?
I wanted to highlight the best fighting game category,
Uh-oh.
mostly because of just one very, very strange choice that was dropped in there. So the nominees for this year are DNF Duel, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure All-Star Battle R, King of Fighters 15, Multiverses, and Sifu. Let's play guess which one doesn't quite fit into this category.
You know, I'm more okay with Sifu being there than JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, because JoJo's Bizarre Adventure isn't that just a repackaging of an old game?
No, it's a 2D fighter. It's done by CyberConnect from Bandai Namco,
Mm-hmm.
but the balance isn't necessarily perfect. Mostly because just I've heard some chatter that some characters are completely busted, and if you get into like a matchup with a character that just isn't balanced correctly against this OP character, then you may as well just kind of forfeit the match. How true that is, I don't know because I don't know the game. So, but yeah, just that one is through and through a 2D fighter.
Well,
So.
I know it is, but my issue is that it's not an original game. It's basically a repackaging of the PS3 game that came out.
Yeah.
So that's my issue with that. I don't think that should be in there. And I also agree Sifu doesn't really need to be there either. But in my opinion, either just make it DNF Duel, King of Fighters, and Multiverses. But even I would say King of Fighters doesn't deserve to be in there, personally. Because I bought the game, and the online has not worked since I've bought it. So,
Oh yeah, and that's a point I agree with too, because the random matchmaking is still broken to this day.
yeah.
And the wild part is, during Evo this year, they announced that they would be doing like a crossplay update sometime early next year, and I'm sitting here going, okay, well, you gonna fix that busted matchmaking by then, or
Yeah.
are you gonna fix it before? Because the game's not in a great state right now, and you guys really need to go back and fix that, because when your player base has to rely on going to a King of Fighters unofficial Discord and then join up a like lobby day where you try to figure out which person's lobby to join, that's not the sign of a very good fighting game, especially if you want to build like an online community with it. So yeah, it was that one was kind of a head scratcher for me as well too, with just how busted the game is currently.
Yeah. Okay, so is there any other categories you want to go over real quick, or?
Not really. Just
Yeah.
I think most of the categories are either kind of, yeah, these are a bunch of gimmies, or in some of the like social media categories, I'm just like,
Yeah.
who the fuck is that person, or who the fuck is this esports team or esports coach?
Yeah. The esports stuff, I'm like, I don't care. It's like, okay, cool. That's cool. Whatever. Like I'm fine. Like, whatever. But the content creator of the year thing, this is where, like, I normally do not care. But the fact that Nebellion got nominated, now, I know some of you on Twitter love Nebellion. Okay, I get it. But content creator is a stretch with him. I mean, a stretch. All he did, basically, was, hey, this news came out, here it is. That's it. That's all he did.
Yeah, or he would add light commentary like, hey, I think this piece of news is interesting.
Yeah, essentially. That's really not content creation. And my my feeling is he's going to win this. I think he's going to win this because people can vote on this too. And there were plenty of people who was like, oh, Nebelian left. Oh, my God. Press F for respect. Oh, a true champ. I'm like, what? Guys.
Yeah, I think I even saw some people calling him, quote, a titan of the industry.
Yes, I saw that too.
Fucking what?
Yeah. I'm like, hold up, people. But yeah. I know Ludwig is a popular streamer. Am I right on that?
Yeah, he's pretty popular.
But for some reason, I'm looking at QT Cinderella and thinking I think she's going to get this. If not, her Nebelian. I think that's what's going to happen. Either Nebelian's going to win it because enough people on Twitter are going to be like, oh, we gotta get Nebelian back. Maybe if he wins this award, he'll go back to doing that and not making money. I can sense people trying that and thinking that might work. But either that or I think it's QT Cinderella because, well, I hate to say this, but what's the difference between QT Cinderella and the other 4 nominated?
Girl, woman.
Bingo. Bingo. And you got those simps. You got to put them in order. So, yeah. Not that I'm saying she doesn't deserve it. She may. I don't follow any of these people, but I really found it funny that Nebelian got nominated when he doesn't create any content. I thought the point of a content creator is that you make content. I mean, what the... Anyway, I'm back. I'm going to get off that. Yeah. So, those are the nominees categories. I think the most nominations went to God of War Ragnarok, followed by Elden Ring, and I think it was Horizon Forbidden West. I think also got 7. So those 3 are the ones that got the most nominations. Who do you think will rack up the wins?
In my opinion, I think it's going to be Elden Ring.
Okay.
Mostly because just everyone's going to be like, oh my God, the world, the music, the narrative, so good.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think the most win either it will get the most wins or it will tie with most wins with God of War, but Elden Ring will get best game. I think is what's going to happen at this point. So, yeah. That will be December 8th. Before that comes up, we will discuss what we think will get announced at the Game Awards, but we will do that at another date. Thank you for listening to this podcast segment. The Capital Games podcast is done every week, and we post it on all your favorite podcast apps, as well as segments on YouTube. If you want to listen to another segment, you can listen to a new one right there on the screen. We also do a movie podcast called the Capital Games Movie Club. If you'd like, you can go ahead and click on that and see all the movies that we have reviewed from that point. Thank you for listening, and we hope to hear from you soon.